Welcome back to the All Things NBA podcast. I'm Kris Pursiainen, presented as always by ballislife.com. I'm here tonight, Tuesday night, May 13th, to talk about a couple of things with a special guest. We got Zach Blatter of the Strickland of Tops and Knicks superfan. I think is a fair addition in there. So, also the NBA draft lottery, ridiculous, just stupid. But we will start with the Knicks. I think that is probably the most topical, the most timely. Just first of all, Zach, what'd you make a game for, man? Like, I don't want to do the how does it feel because we'll get into that later, and it's also the lazy layup question. But like, final buzzer sounds. What's the thought process?
I think this is a team that's especially Jalen Brunson, but Jalen Brunson kind of represents the rest of this team. But when they come into a game where the pressure is as high as it was today, like you don't want to go back to Boston with the series tied 2-2. You have an opportunity to go up 3-1 at home and then have a couple opportunities to close it out, whether on the road or back at home for a possible game six. And I think there's now enough history where it's like when this team goes with their, I don't want to say their back was against the wall, but when they have this pressure to deliver and like this is a scenario where they kind of had to deliver, they always do. And it's always Brunson, and especially down the stretch in these big moments when
Yeah,
when it matters most, like I think rises to the occasion is the only way to describe it. And like I can't say I like fully expected it, but I anticipated it. And it was there, and it was awesome to kind of see it come into fruition. For it wasn't that it was funny. There were some shots he hit that I felt were very similar to the shots he hit in Philly, especially the one in the first quarter where he was kind of coming around the elbow and he used his footwork to, I think it was Drew, he got around and hit one that was very,
oh, the one
very,
that Sean Davis posted.
yeah, it was very
Yeah, that
similar
was
to the one he hit
stupid.
on Embiid in Philly. It's like there are like flashbacks to like to these other series and stuff. But this guy, I mean, it's hard to describe how often he rises to the occasion and delivers. And as the moment gets bigger and bigger, so does this game.
Yeah, I feel like, for a particularly to have the nickname Captain Clutch and for that to kind of stick a little bit, like there's something there. This guy is ludicrous. Since he joined the Knicks, nobody else in the NBA has had more 35-point playoff games than him. Think about that. Think about that for a second. Since Brunson joined the Knicks, he's been in the playoffs against the Cavs. They beat the Heat. They lost. He's been in the playoffs against Indiana. They lost to. They beat Philadelphia. Now he's beaten Detroit, and he's up 3-1 against Boston. In all of that time, Giannis Antetokounmpo has been out in the first round 3 years straight now, and I
I
know
believe, yeah.
he's so amazing, and that's not all his fault at all. But you know, he's in the league. Jokic is in the league. Shea exists. Tatum exists. Dude, Tatum is going to finish so high on the Celtics all-time playoff stats leaderboards, despite how many greats they have all time, because he was there from day one contributing on playoff teams. Like he's special, man. And it sucks to see him go down tonight is awful because yes, the Knicks had it locked up by then. They were up like 8 or 9 with 3 minutes to go. They had all the momentum there at home. Uh, that, right? But man, it stinks to see him go down. That said, like he is really special when he's on the floor, and the duel that he and Brunson were having, like Brunson just comes through, and he's in the league. Shea, Jokic, all these superstars, Curry, LeBron, KD, right? Jalen Brunson has the most 35-point playoff games since he joined the Knicks. That's not an accident. That's not anything. Like, yes, the Knicks probably didn't see this exact outcome coming when they signed him. Oh, we're gonna beat Boston right after they win a championship and this, that. But like, do you remember all like the Fred Katz reports about how the Knicks thought he had another level to reach after
I do
his
remember.
first year? Yeah, like so they did at some point figure this, and that was part of their calculus. I guess to go a little more macro, like talk about everyone else, like because Brunson being on the deal that he's on is what allows them to pay so much for Towns, to give up so many picks for Bridges, pay so much for Towns like in dollar amount per year. It's like 60 a year. It's ridiculous. Give Anunoby the biggest contract for a Nick ever at the time when he signed it. I think now Towns has it, but like what about these other guys, dude? Mikhail in the fourth quarter was possessed.
I think I mean I'll kind of go through one guy at a time. I think OG's been a Nick long enough where I can confidently say like I know his game enough and I can kind of expect what moments he'll deliver in and like how what to expect out of him in the big moments and like he delivered with some major threes and some major defensive moments in this game. But I feel like he's been around and I know him long enough to kind of know what I'm getting out of him. Cat, like I'm not a Wolves fan, but like Cat's just been in the league spotlight for so long that I kind of felt like I knew what I was getting out of him a couple months into the season. Like we've know his game. He's been in the national spotlight for so long. He's the number one overall pick. Like we know Cat, but with McHale, like I'm not a Nets fan. I'm not a Suns fan. I'm not like I don't. I came into the season not really knowing McHale's game. Obviously, like I know it from the outside looking in. Like I know he's got the mid range and he's got these long arms and can really like play defense when he locks in. But like
Lanky.
watching him this season, it's like I'm still. I think today is kind of like confirm some of the things that I was suspecting about him, but I think today was a real like, oh yeah, he's a guy that can really rise to the occasion, like I said
He's
before. But in
peculiar,
in
man.
these fourth quarters and in these second halves in general, like I don't know how many other guys I'm taking over him just to go get a tough bucket in the mid range, but also like go get a defensive stop on the other end and use your long arms and all that other like all his tools, his physical tools that he has. And
One of our
I
friends
also
said tonight, like he was like, oh, like he was watching Chris Middleton tape before this game, like locked in,
he
right?
is very Middleton
But he,
offensively.
so this is what I was gonna
Yeah.
say is like he kind of feels like this next NBA generation's version of Chris Middleton, the guy who is just like you're in a great spot if he's your third or fourth best player, but also like he can go get a bucket despite not being the number one scoring option.
The other a word I want to use for him is just unfazed. And I think like in games, there are obviously he's had so many games where he starts off like 0 of 8 or 1 for 9 and like shows up in the second half and it's fine. I think he had one, it was game two or game one where he had one like I think it was game one in the series in Boston where he was just awful in the first half and then flipped the switch in the second
Yeah.
half and kind of won them the game. But I think you can look at his career and look at the way he's adjusted to his role here and kind of use that same word. Like he came into here kind of like the third or fourth option on some nights. And like I don't think he's been the third or fourth option on a team probably in his life and had to like make a major adjustment to that. And you can tell like it wasn't an easy adjustment for him to make. And like a lot of players would have folded in that situation and would have not shown up for him and wouldn't have. It's hard when you could go 4 minutes without getting a shot up or go 3 minutes without getting a touch. And like for a guy like McHale, who is I think is 27 years old, 28 years old, has been playing basketball for a long time. Like that's a major, major adjustment for how you approach games and how you approach every possession, knowing you're not going to get the ball each time and having to lock in on defense when you're not getting all your stuff offensively. And I think that was something a lot of people talked about. It's like, oh, McHale will start defending his ass off when he starts getting in rhythm offensively. And it's like it's easier to kind of bring it on defense when you know you're going to get your stuff on offense. And that's true for a lot of players, and I think it's definitely true for McHale. And I think seeing him kind of rise in the second half and rise in these fourth quarters and deliver on both ends, really, it's been a learning experience, kind of just being around this player for the first time, but also it's just been an absolute treat to watch.
Yeah. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns, he's the guy who stands out to me as like,
And yeah,
um,
I would have got to it, but he was phenomenal tonight. This was
no, so that,
probably his best game of the playoffs,
so
possibly.
I was gonna say going 11 of 15 from the floor is fascinating, right? Because just look at his 3-point shooting this series against Boston. Is it the finger, the hand, whatever it like? Okay,
I think he'll have surgery after the season. Like
yeah,
I think that's kind of like the worst kept secret right now is that like this thumb or wrist or finger, whatever is bothering
yeah.
him, it's bothering him. Like it's a real thing, and like he's grabbed it and he's wearing all this tape and stuff, and like he's playing through it. But he's there will be a report that like out of nowhere on a Tuesday at 3 o'clock you'll get a Knicks PR like
Karl
oh
Anthony
Carlton
Towns has
underwent
underwent a
successful
procedure.
surgery. Yeah, like you'll and like he's expected to be ready for training camp. Like I'm sure I would bet a nice sum on that happening
We're
very
familiar
very
with their
soon
game.
after. Um, but I think the other thing that like people talk about
HSS.
what was he 11 for 15 from the field today and
Yeah,
like
no, but
the offensive
so
was
what I was gonna
killer.
say is he was 0 of 3 from three.
Yeah,
Like
I
that's
mean
why I brought up the hand is because you
how
take out the
many
threes. This guy was 11 of 12 on
yeah
twos.
how many threes
What?
has he made in the series? Like
One.
one? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
0 of 1 the last game against Detroit, 10 points, right? Okay. First game against Boston, he has 14 and 13. He's 0 of 1 from three, 6 of 12 from inside the arc. Game two against Boston, 21 and 17, 0 of 1 from three, and 9 of 15 inside the arc. Game three against Boston, he took five threes. He made one. So he was 5 of 18 from the floor. He was 5 of 13 from inside the arc, or 4 of 13 from inside the arc, and 1 of 5 from three. Tonight, 0 of 3 from three. So in games 1,
Yeah.
2, and 4, Cat 0 of 5 from three. On the series, 1 of 10. He's shooting
Yeah.
1 of 10 from downtown. Carl
Wow.
Anthony Towns. The Knicks traded for Carl Anthony Towns to optimize Jalen Brunson offensively, to run five out, to do all these things, to have the best shooting big of all time, right? The guy is 1 of 10 against the Boston Celtics, and the Knicks are up 3-1.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I want to give credit to him for one thing, and it'll be a good segue into another guy I want to talk about. But I thought his defense, not just tonight, but throughout the whole series on switches, especially on Tatum and Brown, has been so impressive. And I think that's something I knew he had in his game, and I knew like that was something that the Knicks could have been doing all season. And we know that the Knicks kind of lived and dropped the whole regular season, and then came into the series, and all of a sudden we're switching, except for Game 3 where they decided to go back into drop for most of it, and then lost, and that was annoying. But I think they were from the first possession today switching, and I think they switched on pretty much every Tatum and Brown pick and roll that I looked at, and there were like two specific ones. I'll go back and probably tweet the clips, but there were some that I thought Towns was phenomenal on the switch, especially on Tatum. Another person who was great on switches was Mitch, and this is a guy who has been great on switches since he was like 19, and like we've seen this when he came into the league. This is somebody that we knew that one of his like major upside traits was that he was going to be able to switch and kind of move his feet like this. And we saw major. Do you remember like the clips when he was like a springy young athlete when he would close out to a three that
Yeah,
like
he's, he's
he
blocking
was
the
like
three
inside
pointers.
the paint and like he would do all that stuff all the time. And I think he had one or two of those this year in the regular season.
He
But
he had 9 blocks in that game
yeah,
against the Magic where he blocked
yeah,
like three
yeah.
pointers. There's a,
It was ridiculous. And
it,
like
and it was under discussed at the time, I think,
yeah,
and but that was like he was genuinely the one guy the Knicks had at that point because Knox won Rookie
yeah.
of the Month in
So funny. It was like December.
January, or
I think it was
yeah,
December, and he took it from Trey Young, who like should have won it. I think that it
and
was that class, right? Yeah,
yes, and Jaren Trey, yeah, it's
yeah,
Luca. But Luca and Jaren were other conference,
yeah,
obviously. Regardless, where this is a tangent. My point was that like Mitch was the one player the Knicks had that got any sort of national bump because of his like 9 block
yeah,
performances and he's blocking threes and stuff. It's very cool to see him still be on this team,
yeah,
contributing. Him and McBride
yep.
being the like defensive minded guys off the bench is so Knicks.
It's also just it's so cool as a fan to have
It's
like
so
those two.
Thibodeau and it's
Like,
so Knicks.
yeah. So I want to talk one more thing about Mitch is oh no, it just like totally just escaped me that I had for oh okay someone I was watching the game with somebody who watches the games but isn't like a total nerd fan who tweets through everything and like is a psycho about this, and he asked me, he was like, hey, what do you make, this is before the game, he was like, what do you make of the Mitch free throw thing, which has kind of been like going into this game was like the number one topic of discussion kind of coming out of the series and the number one like national talking point, and like we had like the ESPN like bigger than basketball tweet, which was really funny. But I said to him, I was like, man, like it is what it is. Like this is Mitch. Like this is now year 8 or year 7 of Mitch, and like if you've been watching him, like you know you're gonna get out of him. You know you're not gonna get out of him. And like I thought it was kind of weird to see Boston go away from the hack of Mitch, which I know they were doing it in weird spots, and I didn't like that they were. I don't think it was very effective when they were doing it when we weren't in the bonus and like kind of racking up useless fouls on Cornette and their other bigs. But there were moments today where like they were in the bonus and they could have hacked Mitch and they didn't. And Mitch made a huge impact in this game. And going back to McBride, like there was a sequence in the first half where I think Mitch had 2 offensive rebounds and kicked it out to Deuce, and Deuce hit a huge three, and that felt like a major momentum swing in this game. And it's really cool to see two young players that are both drafted. I mean, Deuce was acquired in like a draft night trade, but pretty much drafted by this team. Um, awesome. Just it's super cool.
They drafted McBride. We don't
Yeah,
need it.
yeah,
We don't need to
yeah.
do
I know.
that. Yeah,
But hey, man,
yeah.
if you want to get into the small shit, but
Yeah, I mean, there's that one guy's Kobe Bryant,
yeah,
the
whatever.
Hornets.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, man. Well, I also have a free basketball reference account.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to get into with this series, and I think Zach, you're someone, the work you do for the Strickland and how plugged in you are. I've always felt like you and I have like this unique relationship, having met literally on Twitter because of like online Knicks spaces and now both being in the sports industry, like still talking to a lot of the same people that we connected with in the first place. Like I think you have a unique perspective, especially given our age. I was going to say your age, but our age,
Hey, you got me, bro. Your birthday was
on
like a week ago.
on
You're
Nick fans.
23.
Yeah, all right, yeah. Given your young age of
Yeah.
22, um, I couldn't relate. Like Nick fans are gearing up to potentially be in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I know the whole job not finished gimmick, but Eastern Conference Finals potential for the first time in 25, 26 years. What what is that? Like what is the word for that? Is it just like a story? Is this like a great story in sports? Like how do you describe this? What's going on right now?
It,
Leon Rose and David Stearns, you could even expand it, like come in and turn these loser New York teams into actual like built sustainable winners. Like I don't know what to describe. I don't know what I have
um,
nothing.
it's a great story on the surface, obviously. I mean, like it's hard not for you to see this and not call it a great story. But I think the one piece that people will overlook it, whether they make the Eastern Conference Finals, they make the finals, they win the finals, whatever happens, is like yes, the players they've brought in and the Brunson acquisition and the OG trade and the Cat trade, all these major roster moves that they've made have been extremely impactful. But I think the one thing that Leon has made a priority from day one is the stuff that isn't on the basketball court, or the stuff that matters in the facility, in the front office, on the coaching staff, on the scouting team, and all this other stuff that like we knew there was reporting from the minute Leon got this job that like they were going to make analytics a priority. They brought in a brand new head of analytics. They brought in a new director of scouting, Walt Perrin, who has been a phenomenal ad. They went out last season. They got mutilated by injuries. And they go out and get Casey Smith, who's like pretty much the best in the field when it comes to this sports medicine stuff. All these other kind of
How special was Tom Thibodeau the one time I asked him,
that is
like
true.
weeks before people were, and I don't mean to sound like an ass, but like weeks before people were really talking about Casey Smith to the Knicks on a national level, Zach inspired Ian Begley to talk about it on SNY on his show, The Putback. And I think also that is kind of what inspired me to ask Thibodeau about Heather Mao and about
Yep.
Casey Smith, who are the two people that
I,
Brunson
I
worked with closely.
I was gonna say Heather also came over from Dallas,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, yeah,
and I don't know that anyone had asked about Heather Mao before
yeah,
that day. His instant response, like, well, Anthony Goenaga is like our
yeah.
lead trade. Like
Who
immediately,
I just correct Anthony Iguodala has been with the Knicks for like 20 years,
yeah,
right?
no,
Yeah, okay.
he's like MSG Teflon. Like he's great at what he does. Also, like
Yeah,
he's the guy who develops Jalen's rehab plans and whatever. Like he oversees everything, this that. But it was funny to me. Like I asked Thibodeau about those two, and I think he knew exactly. Like he's like, I don't want to get into this Maverick shit. Goes
yeah,
right to Goenaga.
yeah. But as I was saying before, though, I think like when you're Leon Rose and you come into a market like New York City and a franchise as valuable as the Knicks with all this kind of money at your disposal, and I think credit to James Dolan for kind of giving him the credit card and saying, hey, if you want to go and make these big hires on the parts of the business that aren't like salary capped and don't have these like second apron restrictions on your medical staff, obviously. So I think that they have made that a priority. They've spent the money. They've gotten the best in each of their respective fields, and like it's paid off. Like look how healthy these teams are. Look how well they've drafted. Look at how well they're well coached, man. Like as Tibbs has his flaws, but like they are well coached. They're well developed. They're trained well, and the skill development's been really good. And I think the players have been great. The acquisitions have been great, but I don't think people can overlook the stuff that happens off the court here. So, and that's what makes this sustainable.
Dude, just on an organizational level, because like I feel like this is a chance to really nerd out before the discourse becomes fully like on court. Um, Walt Perrin, Brock Aller, like all these guys that Leon Rose hired as soon as he got to the Knicks, built a
Frank Zanin is another
yeah,
one.
yeah, Thibodeau, the Greers, like there's all these characters that have
Yeah.
been a integral part of this team since Rose was hired in February, March 2020. And let's just like take a moment to think about what they've done, right? Because this Knicks team is beating the Celtics 3-1. There's you can't put that any way. Like they're beating the defending champion Celtics 3-1 in the second round. And they started with a team where like, reports came out where it's like, oh, Rose was in attendance for the Knicks game against the Chicago Bulls, and RJ, or was it the Rockets? It was the
It was the
Rockets.
Rockets, which was an all-time great game, by the way. I will go
Barrett and
back to that.
Robinson were the two Knicks that really made like a good impression. Like, and Knick fans were like salivating over this. This was like their Super Bowl. Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
the new guy likes RJ and Mitch. Man, like that. There was years of that, right? Like I growing up went to a lot of Knick games, and that fan base, because they're they're right here, and that fan base, Noah Vonleh, right? Like there's so much to talk about here, right? Like I just what what to you if an alien came down to Earth right now, like, and saw Seventh Avenue shut down, I guess. Like how do you describe that to them? Like what have the Knicks done here?
They traded a
They
paper clip.
cooked. They
They traded
cooked.
a paper clip for a Lamborghini. Like they did that challenge. Like I work in trading cards, and I've seen videos where people will go to a card show and walk in with like a $1 card and like challenge themselves to try and make trades throughout the day and like see how high they can get and like what can we turn this like $3 card into with some negotiating at a card show. And it's like it makes for great content in cards, but definitely makes for a great basketball team too if you kind of build your team this way. And I think they should be applauded for like the slower approach they took. They had opportunities to kind of make big swings and they didn't. And they had opportunities to go get Donovan Mitchell in 2022 and pay a top dollar for that and they didn't. And like, listen, would I have liked to see that happen? Hell yeah. But like it didn't, and I think we're better off that way. There were a few other ones. I mean, like DeJounte Murray was like a name that got thrown around. They probably could have gotten involved on Kevin Durant if they wanted to. They probably could have gotten
Zach
involved
Levine. Remember
Levine,
remember the
Kyrie even.
RJ
Like
and
they're
Obi for Levine.
Dude,
Like
like there are a lot of these like shiny objects that they could have went for and they could have advanced their timeline a little bit and sped up this process, but they didn't. And they identified guys that they wanted. And I think they saw Boston even before they won the championship, but they saw Boston kind of looming as this big threat. And we're like, hey man, like we need to go get two wings that we can put on Tatum and Brown, and we need to get guys that'll fit around them and fit around Brunson and open up the floor for Brunson with Towns. And like I think they had a vision and they executed on it, and it's applaudable.
I what rebuilds have we seen go like this in our
Few.
lifetime? It's
I
only like
think you
22 decades. It's
I
not
think
much.
you're gonna have to look outside of basketball. Like you're gonna have to look at other sports to see like what happened because I don't think there's an NBA comp in like our era, I guess, in the past 15, 20 years that is similar to this. Like I would have to really like go look in baseball and go look in football and see what like who kind of used their farm system to go get guys and put a team together around one core piece that kind of fits perfectly together. And I in basketball, I don't know, has anything coming to mind for you? Like nothing's really coming to mind for me.
Um, but I mean, like the best recent rebuilds in sports. This is like a great like sports radio segment. I gotta bring this to my job.
The other big
Um,
piece is that like a
the
lot of these
Ravens. The
I will say like even the Ravens like a lot of these teams that you're gonna name drafted their main piece and ended up scoring in the draft or scoring in like the draft lottery to land one major piece or like look at like the Bucks who are miserable, but like they landed Giannis at like the 13th pick I think he was, and like that turns your franchise around. And, like yeah, the Knicks drafted a lot of great guys. None of them were like top 20. None of them are franchise talents. Like they went out and identified Brunson, and yeah, I don't think they signed that deal thinking he would be like a Clyde Frazier level Nick. But hey, he turned out to be one, and they didn't let it slip, and
well, he did
they
not turn out to be one.
he's close. He's very close.
He is over Carmelo Anthony, and I think that's like I was gonna tweet about it tonight, and I was like, let's just not do
I don't
this.
want to do the
I
comps.
was like,
I
let's
also
just not
just
do
dude.
this right
Also, like,
now.
sorry, I'm getting out ahead because we weren't alive for Clyde, and like I just kind of I read the resume and I've seen the clips and I hear the stories, but like I think he's as close as we've gotten probably
You've
since
gotta
Ewing.
you've gotta read the
So
Harvey Araton book about the 70s Knicks. Like I know so much about like Kazi
yeah,
Russell now.
yeah,
Like old people find
great hoop grids pull.
old people find that impressive. Um, but it was a great book, and I think you'd like really appreciate. Do you know how it's a huge deal that when Kareem went down, Magic started at center, and
I
then
do know
like
about that.
won
Yeah,
them
yeah,
that finals
yeah,
game? Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, Clyde did that for the Knicks. Like Reed had like the whole like
Yep.
shot to the leg
Yep.
thing,
Yep.
and Clyde just like put up an insane like 40-20 type game. Like
Yeah.
he was massive. He was massive.
Yeah.
Um, okay, the Knicks are up 3-1. The NBA playoffs are still super fun. We don't know what's going to happen between the Nuggets and Thunder. They're 2-2. It's an amazing series. Wolves play.
I'm confident that's going seven. Like I just think it's going seven, and I can't give you a prediction for game seven. It'll probably come down to the final shot. Like I think it's that close of a series. So
The Wolves are up 114 to 101 on the Warriors as we're recording this. So it looks like the
how much
Warriors
time
are
is
going to be
left?
down, dude, like 2 minutes.
Okay, cool.
It looks like the Warriors are going to be down 3-1. So it looks like it's going to be the Knicks versus the Pacers. And it looks like it's going to be the Wolves versus either the Nuggets or Thunder. Playoffs, huge storylines. But I want to go to the other end of the 30 teams right now. Um, Zach, I just kind of want your unfiltered takes on this is like a little bit of why I brought you on for this episode. I kind of just want your unfiltered takes on the lottery. Like, can we just I'm just gonna read the results right now. And I think I would love like a couple sentences after each result on that team getting that spot. We have the Spurs who have the 14th pick. I feel
But
like no
they also have
Nobody's discussing that. Nobody's discussing that they have
so,
two top 14 picks, right?
so
Like,
the odds of them getting two top 40 picks were like pretty high though, right?
yes, like
Yeah.
we knew this was we knew they were
Yeah.
getting the Hawks pick pretty
Yeah.
much, but like the fact that that's happening, I guess, is
Yeah.
still just crazy. They should draft at that. Actually, no, because there's this whole thing about like Jeremy Cohen talks about this for Knicks Film School, like trying to stagger your extension years.
I
They should
yeah, I
trade
mean
one of the two picks. They should trade one of the two.
I have a Spurs like two sentence take. Um I think they're really good right now, and Wemby is really good right now, and I think you need to kind of expedite your process a little bit. And they did that with the Fox trade,
I
but I
don't like the
think
Fox trade.
I
I think
don't like
tonight
it.
makes the Fox trade look worse.
Okay, it's a little weird, but I think like you can't be hesitant to move Fox this summer. Like just because you brought him in doesn't mean you're like attached to him for 3 years. Or I don't think you need to be attached to these picks. I don't think you're attached to anybody. And the one thing that I really didn't love is like I'm sure Mitch Johnson's a good coach, but like do a search, bring in guys, interview other guys,
But
and
then what's the point? What's the point
just
of
do your
giving
due
Mitch Johnson the
diligence.
job for that long?
Yeah, like do your due diligence,
No, that
interview
they
Mitch
gave him the
Johnson.
job for that long to see if he they saw what they needed to see. They didn't want to do a search.
I don't know. I wasn't like super impressed with like and some of his stuff down the stretch.
I think
I just think like
nowadays, if you're
when
not
you have a yeah
hiring Tibbs or Clifford or one of those type guys, like you're hiring a lawyer.
yeah
And he's
yeah
that. He will do what the front
that's
office
fine.
wants and he'll represent and fight for the team. I don't know. Go on, but I like it.
I just I think they could have done a little more due diligence when you have a guy like Wemby in the building and somebody that you're probably going to attach to Wemby for the semi-long term, maybe like you hope to attach to Wemby for the long semi-long term, and like maybe they probably know way more about him than I do. Like they definitely do, but I wasn't super excited about the hire. That's all I'll say. You can move on.
Um, yeah, I no, I get it. I get it not being exciting. I think it's fine. The Hawks get the 13th pick from the Kings.
Fine.
Um,
Do they have a GM yet? I don't think so, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
The Bulls get the 12th pick. They lost the coin flip to the Mavericks
so
for that
rough.
slot, and then the
So funny.
Mavericks jumped to one. Like that, the Bulls are so beyond cursed. It's not even funny. Like the fact that they went 39 and 43 and get the 12th pick. Like that guy better turn into a star. I want that to be a Giannis type 13th
Mm,
overall pick. I want that to be a Kawhi type
maybe
15th overall pick. Like I need that to hit. The basketball world, we don't even like people our age don't know what it's like for there to be like a real like dynasty in Chicago. We got jebaited and then Rose, you know what I mean? Like that's a huge market. Like we
I know
I,
nothing about this draft. They should just swing on one of the French guys. Just swing on like one of the Ratio Farm Ulm guys where Dottier play. I know there's two of them coming out of there, and I'm just like,
Noah
yeah,
Senge.
just take one of those dudes. Like
Noah is good.
I'll do the draft thing when the Knicks get lost and or lose. I will like I will read and watch these guys, but I've heard about these they're playing for that German team, and I'm like, yeah, just swing on them. You know, they're like, you got a tall guy.
When the
Like, he's a,
Knicks lose, I'm still stuck on that from you.
When I meant when they are not playing in the playoffs. Whether
Okay.
that ends with a
All
win
right.
or a loss, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
It's to be
Yeah.
seen.
Noted.
Sorry, I'm just so conditioned that they
Portland
lose.
gets 11.
Um, that sucks for them, man.
They're a
It
weird
does.
team. Like they
That
yeah.
sucks. I thought it would be cool to see them jump up. I like what they've been doing.
Rockets get 10.
Fine. They're fine.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool because they're good. They
Yeah.
need to consolidate, or they should. Now they have a great pick to do it with. The Toronto Raptors fall 2 spots and get 9. They
Sucks for
traded for
y'all.
Brandon Ingram.
They have no idea what they're doing.
I've been like really questioning Masai Ujiri, not because I think he needs to announce his plan to the world, but like what's the plan? Anyway, the Nets are picking 8. That's
This was
sad.
this no. This was the best outcome of the night for me. I went in. I was in the bar in Manhattan, obviously, and there were two really loud crowd pops during this draft lottery. The first one was when the Nets were called at 8, and everybody was thrilled. It was like, let's go. We're not getting flag out here. We're good.
Oh
Like,
my
let's go.
God.
But the bigger pop, which I mean, we'll get to it. We'll get
Well,
to it.
I mean, so look, we're gonna skip through like, dude, the Pelicans are picking 7. That's another
Fine.
like Raptors-esque, like what is going like
Yeah.
they're gonna trade Zion maybe? Um, okay. Zion for RJ is something we should discuss at some point. Pelicans get 7. Wizards fall to 6. You and I were heartbroken by this. We
I
spoke about
was.
this. Like
I
they're
think they're doing it the right
there
way.
we were
Like,
tanking, and then
yeah,
they traded for Smart and Middleton to
yeah,
like teach
yeah,
their young kids,
yeah,
and then the NBA does them like this. This is
yeah.
disgusting. This is
They're
like the
yeah.
Knicks tanking well for the first time ever, and then getting the third pick instead of Williamson or Morant.
Yeah, it
Jazz
sucks.
5, Hornets 4, Sixers 3.
I'm sorry, wait. Jazz 5, like after you forced Walker Kessler to shoot 10 threes a game in April or in March, whenever that was, like epic.
They
Just
also
great.
all the games that Walker Kessler has missed in his career have pretty much been in March and April. Like
Yeah,
the guy is
great.
like an Iron Man, and he's missed half of his career games because they just sit him for
Yeah,
the.
it's great. Like it's not ethical. It's not ethical. They fell 4 spots. Like I'm looking at the tankathon thing,
They
and like it's
also
great.
like
It's great.
Colin Sexton's going to play where next season? Especially if
I don't
they
know.
Utah is a team that should trade up with the Spurs or something and get Harper.
If I'm Utah, like I don't think there's a single player on the roster who I'm like remotely attached to. Like there isn't a single guy that would be like I need you on my team in 3 years. I don't think there's one.
Fascinating.
Is it
Well,
Filipowski? Like
no.
is that the one?
I mean, he's
Like
good.
is it like
He's
I
looked good.
like that might be the one that I like look at. But I don't think there's a single guy that I'm like locked in on for the next 3 years.
Sixers, Spurs,
This
Mavericks.
was Sixers was the one that
There's the top
just
3. Just have at it. Just tell
yeah.
me what you think. Just
Okay,
have
well,
at it.
first, like the crowd I was at just erupted when the Sixers got called for three. Like the Nets got a nice pop, but like the Sixers was just like absolute like hysteria when they showed that up there. Um, I would have really liked to see the Spurs get number one. I thought it would have been so crazy to see the flag Wemby front court. Also, just having them out west, like is it's. I mean, they went to Dallas, so it's okay. Our flag went to Dallas, so it's okay. They're out west regardless. But having him out west with them, like it would have been ridiculous. Dude, the Dallas thing is just like what am I even looking at? What is going on here? I was at lunch today and I said like, funniest possible outcome is Dallas getting number one, and I like obviously like felt that was not happening. I was like, oh, they have a chance, but like this is not gonna happen, and it happened. And Nico got it. And like, listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not somebody who's gonna go parade outside the NBA office
The
and like,
Cavs won the lottery immediately after LeBron left. The
yeah,
Pelicans won it
dude,
immediately after the CP3 trade, immediately again after the AD trade. The Mavs win it immediately after the Luka trade. They give Zion to New Orleans, Ja to Memphis. They put New York at the. I've seen too
yeah.
much to be.
So it's just like
I'm a little suspicious at this
yeah,
point. I'd be
it's
lying if I said I wasn't
yeah,
suspicious.
it's hard not to be suspicious. That's all I'll say. It's very hard not to be suspicious. The tinfoil hat has just appeared on my head. I don't know. I can't take it off.
All right.
But it'll be. I also think like the Mavs have like some decisions to make. Like, what do you do? Do you keep do you keep like Kyrie around? Like, do you keep AD around? Like, do you try and win this year? Like, I don't. Is Clay like alive? Like, is he still good? Like, do you keep? I don't know who they have off their bench, so we'll see.
Yeah, dude. The Mavericks are like. They asked Flag about it tonight. Like the Mavericks are like built to go. You know, like this
Yeah.
is insane. They this is also the second tank job they've pulled off recently that's like greatly benefited them. If you remember the
Oh my
Knicks,
God, bro. I unfortunately do
the
remember when.
hijinks with them get
Yeah,
they get Derek Lively out of that.
yeah,
Um I'm gonna ask you this. Sorry, quick question before we wrap up. If you're the Mavs, do you go, assuming you can't get Giannis Antetokounmpo, do you, first of all, do you want to, would you do that if you were them? Right? Yes.
Is that an AD deal? Like, is that AD going out? It has to be, right?
I was thinking like keeping AD and trying to do
Having
like
AD in.
Washington, Gafford. Uh,
If you can do that, sure. I don't think you can though. I don't
okay.
think.
So
Yeah.
then with that out of the question, like, do you go for Durant with other stuff and try to convince him to join Flag the same way the Knicks tried with Zion? Like,
I am just like I'm never getting into the Durant business if I'm trying to win. Like
okay,
I'm so out
wow,
on him, and like I'm out on him in every context. I'm out on him on like at this stage of his career. Like I think he's just a miserable person, a miserable athlete to be around, and I'm good. Like
oh my.
if I'm trying to win, like it's I'm not. There's other guys I'll go for.
I think
So
I think he can help a great team tonight. But I do agree that like as a number one option, I think a lot has been overstated about him through his through
I
his
have
through his
one
career.
last Mavs thing, and
Go
like
for it.
I kind of like I feel for Flag. Like I know this is like a good team he's going to, but like.
Yeah, he was playing with Kyrie Irving and
I
Anthony
know it's
Davis as a
cool. It's like
rookie.
there's good talent on paper, but like
Kyrie
I
Irving,
think
dude, Duke.
I know he probably looked up. He probably grew up like looking up to Kyrie, and like it's cool. It's cool that that's happening. But I
I
just
don't think
think
Flag feels for Flag.
I don't think Dallas is a stable organization right now. I think they've had major turnover in like their medical department. I don't think their
Okay,
front office is
Nico
like super
Harrison,
stable.
major
Like
turnover in the medical department. I don't. I think that's a hilarious thing to
they
bring
had,
up
I mean, not maybe
as
not just
proof.
this year,
They
but like they've
traded
had.
Luca. They
Yeah, okay,
the,
that's true.
a
But
team
like,
traded Luca, and the first thing you brought up as proof
okay,
that they were
I kind of
unstable was the turn.
I
Dude, you're
thought
so obsessed with
I
Casey Smith.
I
He's like your
I
like
figured
obsession.
I figured the Luca thing was kind of like an obvious that I didn't need to restate that. But I think this organization is just kind of in chaos right now, and I think there's value in Flag ending up with an organization like Washington or like even like Brooklyn is a little more stable than them right now. There are other teams that I would have felt a little more comfortable about his long-term outlook than I do in Dallas. So that's it.
The Great Wizards, their
Yeah.
program. Um, okay, Zach, anything you'd like to plug? I assume the Strickland.
The Strickland, if you're a Knicks fan, this is the place to be, especially on Instagram because we just been humming on Instagram lately. But we're also on the Forbidden X app. Also, I have a website. I mean, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere you get your pixels, we probably exist. So
That's crazy, man. Your pixels. I was like, I'm gonna steal that, and I was like, no, I'm not.
it's a fun one, you
That
know?
sucks.
No,
Um, I hate you for that. Why did I bring you on this show, dude?
no,
All
no,
right.
we're good.
Thank you for coming, I guess. And if you're tuned in, thank you so much. If you're watching us on YouTube, did you know you can leave a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell for free? If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music, did you know you can watch us on Spotify and leave a 5-star rating for free? Thanks so much for tuning in. Come back for the NBA playoffs. We're here every week. We're talking hoops. We're talking NBA playoffs. We've got so many amazing series ahead of us. Zach, thank you one more time for joining us. Go check out the Strickland. And Zach does a lot of great work for Tops too on their socials. So go follow like the Tops Instagram or something if you don't, so he can report that at the quarterly meeting or whatever he'll be doing there. I'm sure you'll be at the white party this year and
Whoa, whoa.
we'll
I
be
don't know about that.
discussing that. Thanks for coming. Have a great time, everyone. Continuing to watch the NBA playoffs and come back for more talk about all things NBA from A to Z. Peace.